Hello everybody, CW here. I want to do a little VR to Guns and Cars, who just did a really good range video on his Bear Creek 20-inch upper in 350 Legend. He had contacted me, and we've been talking a little bit the past couple months, and he contacted me to see if I could join him on the live, but unfortunately I couldn't. It's a tough time for me that time of day, but I wanted to just to touch base on the 350 because he's brand new at it, and I've had it since it came out. I've got two of them, and I brought them both out here. We got a Ruger American, and we've got an SCR, which has now become Fight Light, but this is an SCR, one of the original ones. This is a Gen 2. I made some slight modifications. The trigger's better, action was a little better. I forget what else they changed, but not stock at all. There's nothing here stock except for the receiver and the trigger. Again, converted to 350 Legend. This one here, I'm probably end up doing another video on. I had a video on the old channel, and it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat gun, and you can see it's got some nice wood on it, and I built a pretty nice upper for it, assembled pretty nice upper for it, and I should do another video on that for you guys, but I'll go over them really quick here. So the Ruger American is the ranch model. It's got the short length of pull, 16-inch barrel, and I didn't really do much of anything. I did give it a paint job. I did the stock a paint job. I switched over to my favorite bases and rings, which are Leupold dual dovetail. So both the front and the rear ring are turn-in, so there's no adjustment. They're locked in. They're just as solid as can be. The scope is just a cheapy Bushnell Banner 2. They're like 120 bucks or so. 4.5 to 14, I think. More scope than it really needs, but I really got to like that scope, that zoom range on my scopes, and it fit really well with the low rings. I do have a level on here, which I find helpful for longer ranges. Not that this is a long range gun like Justin said in the video. It's really a 250 yard gun on game. You can certainly shoot it a whole lot farther, as you saw in his video. He was smacking that plate at 300 yards pretty easily. So once you get your drops, and it was like 30 inches sighted in for, I think it was almost 3 inches high at 100. So that's a pretty substantial drop, and it just shows you, the cartridge is basically a short range cartridge, and as it was designed, straight wall, it's designed to work where they previously allowed shotguns. So the fact that it's such a rainbow trajectory is what they wanted, what they wanted, because they wanted a short range firearm, mimicking what a slug was, to keep it safe in populated areas. So the 350 Legend, fits that bill pretty well. It's got really good power, really good accuracy, but it drops off pretty quick past a couple hundred yards, and so does a slug. Just like he said in the video, you want to make sure that you've got magazines that are designed, purpose-built for the 350 Legend. He mentioned a different follower. I don't know specifically that the follower is so different, but the ribs in the magazine are different. This has just got ribs for strength, not for form or function. In a 223 magazine, these forward ribs on a number of the mags fall at the front shoulder of the cartridge and keep the cartridge shoulder pushed back and in position in the magazine, because the 350 is a cylinder, pretty much a parallel straight wall. It does have a slight flare, but pretty much a straight wall, parallel wall cartridge. You can't have those ribs. And I made a comment in his video where when I first built this one, there wasn't any magazines to be had. So I took some armament plastic mags and I ground out that front rib with a Dremel tool on a 10 round mag, and that made it so that it would function with 350 Legend. But because of that, it was some of the guide, that rib offered support and guide to the follower, so I lost a lot of the front nose pressure. Now if you look here, the follower, it says specific 350, so Jason could be onto something, Justin rather, could be onto something, that it's a specific follower for the 350, because I see that it does say 350 on it. And this gun takes AR magazines. One other thing that I've done to these, and I really like them on all my threaded barrel firearms, is a Kaw Valley linear comp. Now, if you guys are subscribed to Jer Bear Tactical, he just did a really good video on a newer version or a newer model of a Kaw Valley compensator, with a adjustable nose, or a different nose you can change on it, and it's a pretty neat device. I love them. Like I said, I've got them on most every firearm that'll take a muzzle device, because what it does for you is, number one, for me on this particular gun, such a short barrel doesn't fit good in the gun case, in the gun safe. Such a short barrel doesn't hit the rack, and it's just a little bit short. It doesn't look right. It looks stumpy as short. So when you throw that big compensator on there, and they're available in a bunch of different sizes, a bunch of different materials. That one's like 4 inches long, and it's the medium size diameter. It's got a nice look to it, and it really makes the firearm look balanced to me. But what it does for you for performance is it redirects that concussive blast of a firearm going off, and it sends it down range. It doesn't make it any quieter, doesn't change the decibel output of the firearm, so it's not a silencer, but it does do a really nice job of redirecting the sound away from the shooter, which is really, really nice. And that's about it. That's really all I've changed on this gun. It shoots really, really well. It's way more accurate than it has a right to be. With the ammo that it likes, it'll shoot under MOA. I also mentioned in the video, and he touched on it with that white box stuff, the 145 grain full metal jacket ammo, that it has had its problems, and it was a lot worse than it is now. They had problems with case length, and the cases were beyond spec, and they were into the chamber. So what happens when you shoot a case that's into your chamber is it doesn't release the bullet properly, so pressures can spike, and I believe they had a few blown up guns because of it. I pretty much think that they've got it licked now, and that's not found anymore, but I'll see if I can roll in a picture right here. And you can see that bullet on the one side, the cartridge on the one side, the case is much longer. And what I did was, I just didn't trust them. I didn't take the chance. I didn't trust them. I didn't want to have to look at every single bullet and measure every single bullet cartridge. So I just took them all that I had, and I pulled them all, I trimmed them all, and I reloaded them all. Now I could have just stuck the factory bullet back in there, but I chose to resize up some FTX, 140 grain FTX bullets, and then I chose to drop the powder charge. I weighed every bullet, every cartridge that I pulled, the powder charge, and I got an average of the charge weights. So let's just say they were 30 grains to 32 grains. They varied. I loaded them all to like about 31 and a half. You know, I split the difference, so to speak. I just cut down off a little bit off the top load so that I would make sure that I had enough powder to do every single cartridge. And what I ended up with was some super duper accurate ammo. That FTX bullet is cooking right along. I don't remember the velocity that I was getting, but I tested it in expansion mediums, and it'll hold together up to about 1900 feet per second, which is really, really impressive for a pistol bullet. After that, it does come apart, but that was really, really impressive. So that's what I did, and I didn't have to worry about my guns with bad ammo anymore. This one here, I'll go over it really quick. Again, I assembled the upper myself out of parts. The barrel is a 24-inch Faxon barrel. The handguard is a Diamond Head. I forget the company that makes them, but I really like them. I've got an adapter on here for a standard sling, but I use it for a bipod more than I use it for the sling. But I got that on there, and then I've got a little piece of pick rail also on here. Again, I've got the same 350 Legend labeled magazine, and follower, yep, follower 2, 350. And these are 5-round magazines, I believe. I don't even think they're 10, I think they're 5-round magazines. Something else that I mentioned, I found a company that made 2-round magazines. They're plastic and they go all the way up inside. Now in this gun, I can't use them in here. They won't work. But in an AR, they go all the way up inside. You actually got to put your fingers up inside the mag well to seat the magazine, because it actually sits on top of the bottom of the magazine, stops right there. So it sits on top of the magazine catch, the little pin that comes out, the bar that comes out that goes in there. The whole magazine sits on top of that. That's how short the magazine is. But in some states, you can only have 3 rounds with a semi-automatic. So I picked up those magazines. They were cheap too, but they're plastic 2-round magazines, and those fed perfect. 2 rounds, throw it in the gun. You get 1 in the chamber, 2 in the magazine. You got 3 rounds. You're legal. You're fine. This is a slick-sided upper, so no forward assist, because it won't work with this gun. I'm not going to go into how this works, but it's pretty neat. But it doesn't work because the back of the bolt is not there. There's no ratchet there to work, so it doesn't need it. And I'm a right-handed shooter, so I don't need the kick out. I'll never shoot it left-handed. I don't care about the kick out, so just leave it off. So they call this a slick side because it's flat on both sides. And I did choose rear charging, but I think this would be a cool one to do a side charger on. And then you just have to groove the receiver, which is pretty easy to do. I've got a scratch on mine right there from who knows what, a deer blind or something. I did put pins in this because I've got another upper for this in 223. So I wanted to be able to quickly and easily pull the lower off. And it's, I'll show you in a video specific on this gun, but it comes apart just like an AR. Just doesn't go together like an AR. And then for the buttstock, this is actually a Remington 1100 trap stock, which had some really nice grain. And this is a pretty stock. And I cut it off and put a recoil pad on it. It's not a big pad. It's a rifle pad, just a thin pad. But I wanted this over a big ventilated pad because it just doesn't need it. There's no recoil. So you can see there's this is a Remington stock, and it's pretty. It's got some hickeys in it, but it's a hunting gun. But it's really pretty. And then for an optic, I've got a Riton. Riton is a company that came to be after Nikon stopped making optics, and I picked this up to try it. This is the bottom of the line. I believe it's their bottom of the line. I'm trying to think of what model this is. I don't remember. I don't remember what model it is, but it's 4-16. It's actually a really nice little scope. It comes with this little peg. 4-16 again. These are some really nice all steel mounts. I like these a lot. Warren, I think they're Warren. And I really like a flip up cover on the front. I don't like them on the back, but I like them on the front. And I've got that on there. And this has got a Pigplex reticle in it. And it's really nice. I like it a lot. Good clear glass. It's an adjustable focus, so parallax. And truth told, I had some problems with the first barrel. Faxon was awesome. I could not get good accuracy. Just no matter what I did, it fed and functioned okay, but it just was inaccurate. 2-3 inch groups was all I could get. No matter what I did, I just was not happy. And I talked with Faxon, and they were awesome. They actually sent out a barrel before they got this one back, or before they got my bad one back, and they said just put the bad one in the box. There's a return label inside the box, and there was. I put the old barrel that was bad in the box that they sent me, shipped it back to them on their dime, no problem at all. This one shot a whole lot better, a whole lot better. It's not as accurate as a bolt gun, but it's plenty accurate enough. I can get right at 1-inch groups with a couple of bullets. This one shoots 1 inch or under with almost everything. So, you know, I'm a big fan of the accuracy and reliability and performance of these Ruger Americans. You know, for a $400 or $500 gun, you're getting accuracy that you didn't see, you know, back in the 70s with a custom gun. You paid thousands of dollars to have built. You didn't see the accuracy that you get out of these things. And this mounting system really helped a lot with that accuracy. I think there's a lot of inaccuracy found in a lot of these Weaver style mounting systems that can be cured with better mounts. So I'm a firm believer in good steel, solid mounting systems, and this one here is a good one. Again, it's a Leupold dual dovetail, so it's got a turn-in ring in the front and a turn-in ring in the back. Just like on the old Redfield systems that had the screw in the back, you could adjust for windage with a turn-in in the front. Well, that same turn-in is on both ends, so it's really rigid and solid. This is just a cheapie, but an aftermarket charging handle. And the way you get the stock to work is that you just have to open up the inside a little bit, and pretty much not for diameter so much for just alignment, because this has its buffer system, which is not like what's on an AR. It's basically just like what's in the 1187 and the 1100 Remingtons shotguns. It's just a spring inside a tube that goes down inside the stock here. So the back of the bolt is short and it's got like a rat tail on it, but I don't really want to get into that because I want to make that in the video about this gun. So there we go. Now I've shot only 180 factory Winchester and 150 factory Winchester and 145 factory Winchester. I want to try some of the Federal Fusions. I'd really like to try those. I think they got a 160 or 165 that really looks good. Now with this one here, I've shot subsonics with 270 grain. I'm trying to think, having a mental block. Yeah, 270 grain bullets, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. All the way down to some 65 grain ARX bullets that I've got screaming velocities out of, but I haven't been able to get good accuracy, and I need to do a video on that because some guys will find that interesting. But it's a little bitty composite bullet made by ARX, designed for the 380 ACP, and I'm getting them going over 3,000 feet per second. Cast bullets, I've got a couple of cast bullet loads for this one that are shooting hole in hole at 50 yards. I've actually taken a couple of deer with that cast bullets with this gun, and they work really well. So there we go. Just a quick 20-minute VR with my 350s. And again, watch for a video specifically on this one, because I think you'll get a kick out of it. We'll take it all apart and we'll do what YouTube allow us to do. I won't be able to show you assembly and disassembly, but I can show you parts. So we'll show you that, because that bolt will be interesting to some people. All right, I hope everybody found this interesting. God bless everybody. CW out.